all love a good underdog story. Your character, Dusty, is awesome. But what did you love most about him?
I think that I love that Dusty had kind of put these limitations on himself and was at a point in his life where he was ready to break out of that. Why did I love that? Because that's really how I grew up as well. I remember in my teenage years, telling my family, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian someday. I want to entertain the world. I want to be in front of thousands of people. And yet I had no ability to do that because of crippling shyness and anxiety that I suffered with. So I felt so cool and calm at home, but once I entered out into the real world, I felt like, just kind of insignificant. I didn't know where to exist. So immediately I had that affinity with Dusty because I was like, oh, that's how I started off my life and career before I could get away from the crops that I was dusting.
Right. Being more than what you're built for is one of the main key themes in this film, and that was your obstacle, being shy, and that was the fear. But what did you find was, how did you overcome that fear? Was there something that you learned that really helped you break out of that?
Sure. I mean, it was not only just pushing myself to get on stage in my high school years in drama, but it was having a great mentor. Much like Skipper is to Dusty in the film, I had a teacher. His name is Frank Roberts. And immediately we had a simpatico, and it was just an incredible, my high school experience was incredible because I'd come out of my shell because of Frank. He was the first person to put me on stage. He was the first person who I remember after class one day really told me like it is. He was like, this fear is going to prevent you from having the life that you want. Are you ready to face it? Are you ready to start digging in and doing the work? I'm going to give you some books to read about it. I'm going to give you maybe possibly some, some like homebrewed therapy in some ways. And so without his mentoring, I wouldn't have had the career that I had. So again, so many parallels to Dusty in the story.
Are you still in contact with Frank?
Sadly, Frank passed away a couple of years ago.
I was afraid that you were going to say that and that we would take a kind of sad turn, but I had to ask you.
I tell you, it really isn't a sad turn because I have a lifetime of wealth of, an embarrassment of riches conversation-wise with Frank. And he was an avid emailer as well. So I have books literally that he's written to me where he would just be thinking about me and be writing and still knew the kid that I was. So when you have somebody who knows you through an entire life and career and knows kind of your origin, it's a very special relationship. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when you came on to this project and you were voicing Dusty, what exactly did you want to bring to the character?
I wanted to bring what I'd hoped that I could bring, which Clay Hall, our director, really sealed for me. It was kind of putting the rivets in, was that I wanted him to have edge. I didn't want him to have, I didn't want him to sound tiny, and I didn't want him to have a smallish sound. I really wanted him to have some grit. And that's what they had hoped for as well. They wanted him to really have that sound of want, of desire. And I think that when I'm speaking, I enunciate. I'm a lover of language and vernacular. I'm a verbologist. I've been a person, I just love the musicality of language. And I think they identified that. And so I was hoping that I could be my true voice instead of just coming in and playing, say, a character.
You have a very unique voice, and I think that it was perfect for this role. It really stood out.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a unique voice as well. I think it's perfect for this interview.
Well, I was going to say, can I be like your friend Plane in the next Plane movie?
Well, you never know. I mean, let's see how well this does, and then we'll go on to further adventures.
Maybe there's like an Asian Plane?
There should very well be, of course.
Made in Hollywood.